So this is an old video that you're going to watch. I started filming in November 2023 and it took me a year to post. So these are all archived clips. You know, some of my thoughts might have changed, some might stay the same, but I'd like to post them because it's part of the journey and it's important to me, and they matter to me, and it shows the journey and shows different thoughts I was going through compared to now, I guess. But yeah, enjoy the video. Peace. One of the things I did this weekend was try and find somewhere to get these blood tests done. So I want to get blood tests done to track the diet I'm on, and to especially compare it to the doctors that or the doctor Paul Saladino that I'm watching, that I'm getting this information from, this person that I trust, and just see if this diet works for me, because I do understand that not everyone does react the same to diets. I understand that. Not this diet isn't for everyone, and I am trying to figure out if it's working for me. Subjectively, it is working. I feel like it's working. My opinion, me saying this is how I feel, this is how I once was, this is what was happening. Now it's not. You know, I'm not getting ill. I think I was ill like once last year, and when I was ill, it was quick. It was, you know, it was for 2 days, 2 or 3 days, really. It weren't something serious. Whereas in the past, you know, I've been ill like 4 or 5 times in a year. So these blood tests that I'm getting, I am comparing to the blood tests that he has, and I can sort of see where I'm at in comparison to him. And one of the things I've come across is it's so hard to get private blood tests. I mean, one blood test really should be free for us in England, but hey ho, our NHS falters again. But yeah, trying to get these private blood tests, and you know, to be able to universally compare myself to Paul Saladino, it's hard. It's hard to get one company that does all these tests. I think and still the company that I'm using at the end of this week still doesn't do all the specific tests that I want. I think one's missed out. I think it might be, I don't remember which one it is, but I found it difficult just to get what I wanted. And I also find that with food, if I want to eat organic food, it's so much more expensive. It's so much more unavailable. Do you know, trying to find organic orange juice, apple juice, it's so hard to find. Luckily, Sainsbury's does it, but it is expensive. And other than that, there's one other company that does it, and that's more expensive than the Sainsbury's ones. But to be healthy, to eat food that is, in my eyes, proper, is one, good for the environment, and two, good for your body. That is naturally grown, something that's naturally grown. It is so hard to find, and I wonder why. I wonder if it's the regulations in place, or I wonder if it's that these companies don't make money from it. And I guess it is easier to farm unnaturally, to farm with pesticides and fertilizers and stuff like that, unnatural fertilizers and unnatural pesticides. And I mean, I guess I don't necessarily blame them for doing it that way, because yeah, they're going to make more money, it's less risky. But I just feel like there's not a system in place in the world for us to be able to eat healthy. Whether you are eating the same diet as I'm eating, an animal-based diet, it doesn't matter. It's how available are these organic foods, and how available is it for these animals to be raised naturally, organically. You know, for a cow to be fed 100% grass. Most people don't know this, but cows aren't fed 100% grass for their lifetime. They're sort of subsidized with sort of grains is the best way to categorize it. I remember going into a butcher's once and asking, is this 100% grass fed? And I was laughed at. She was laughing at me. She was like, aren't all cows fed grass? And I'm like, that's not what I said. 100% grass. Only fed on grass. Not pumped with steroids, not having these unnatural food sources fed to them. And she literally laughed at me. And this is a woman who works at a butcher's, who works with meat, who works with cows. Well, works with the meat of cows, who are butchers that knows the local farmer, and yet they don't know that cows aren't fed, that all cows aren't fed 100% grass. And I found it funny, don't get me wrong, she didn't insult me, but I found it funny and shocking, the fact that someone in that industry, literally that is your area of expertise, meat and animals, and especially cows, and you don't even know what they're fed. So I doubt many other people know. I mean, I didn't know. I mean, I did know that. I knew that they weren't fed great food. Don't get me wrong. I know our supermarkets don't do that, but I think it's not necessarily that I have to have people agree with the diet that I eat. I just think if they had the knowledge that I've learned off Paul Saladino, and if you understand the data that he's analysing and the studies he's analysing, and also personal sacrifices I guess he's making, even though they're not sacrifices to him, if you don't understand what he's doing and the lengths he's going to almost find the perfect diet for him, if people don't know and don't have the knowledge about these things, you just assume that what you hear on the news and mainstream media is right. And I do know that is a difficult thing these days, to actually find knowledge that is correct, because every time you scroll on TikTok there's health advice that in my opinion's not correct. But you know, if I didn't have the knowledge that I had about especially the diet that I'm on, I'd look at these people speaking and say, yeah, they're right. So I understand it's hard to also figure out who's right and who's wrong. It takes a lot of detail and accuracy. But what was I going to say? But yeah, I have people speak to me, obviously because I'm eating such a strange way, and it's not the norm. You know, I do get that it is different, it is strange because it's different to what everyone else is doing, which is a sign to me that could be a good thing, because half the country is probably obese or unhealthy. People are dying from different things that we don't even know why. Anyway, yeah, I have people ask me, oh, well, what should I eat? What do you think of this and this? Like today, I had nuts offered to me, and I said, absolutely not. There's no chance I'm eating nuts. They're awful for you. Now, I guess you can weigh it up on a scale, and you can look at it and say, well, there are worse things than those nuts to be eaten. Don't get me wrong. And I was questioning, I'm like, well, why are these bad? And, you know, in my opinion, they're a seed, they've got the highest bad defense chemicals. Well, defense chemicals, I shouldn't say bad, but in my opinion, bad. They've got the highest defense chemicals in them, and people don't even know. They don't even know those factors. They don't even think about what's in the food because they just see it as something natural. And I can understand that. It's just a lack of knowledge. Whether I'm right or I'm wrong, or Paul Saladino is right or wrong, at least there's an attempt to understand and to look at the facts and look at the knowledge. At least there's an attempt to understand what you're consuming. And a lot of people, I don't think they realise the state the bodies are in is because of what you consume. I mean, it is a very main factor into how your body performs and functions and longevity and how you're gonna be when you're older. It's what you consume now. And now, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. I had some Krispy Kreme donuts on the weekend. Don't get me wrong. I had a Mackey's on the weekend. I'm not perfect. I'm not sat here preaching that, you know, my body's the temple and it's the greatest temple ever, and I'm treating it the best. But I am treating it better than I was, in my opinion. But I have more of an understanding of foods. And I hear people asking, I hear friends asking friends, what about this item of food, about these powders and stuff like that. And I do just think you are asking the wrong person because they don't have the knowledge. You don't know what these things are doing. Most people see something on TikTok and they grasp the idea of it, but they don't look into the details of things. You don't listen. That's why podcasts are good, because you can listen to the details in why the foods act this certain way. And that's where I think, I differ, and that's why I feel like, for me, I can stick to the way I'm eating, is because I'm prepared to go get blood tests and see how my body is actually reacting to these foods. How many people do you know that actually pay enough attention to the bodies and care enough about the systems that they're living with day to day, physically, and that they're actually looking after? And it'll be interesting to see what these blood tests actually show and what they bring about. Because again, I could be spouting all this, but my body could be in the worst state it's ever been in. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't have anything to compare it to, for me, but I do have someone to compare it to. And you know, if it comes up, my body's in an awful state, then the diet's not the one. But I can't see why it would be bad, because there's an example. There's evidence from someone specific showing the bloods, and there's many examples of people who are getting better subjectively. But I think my point is, a lot of people do spout off a lot of bullshit, really, without fully knowing, or not even the back different things without knowing fully what it is. Don't get me wrong, I've done that as well. I've said this and this, and I've not got anything to back it. It is all subjective. And I think people just gotta be careful with what you actually consume, and try and figure out what's true and what's not, because it's extremely hard, especially for nowadays, for people who are especially listening to social media and stuff. They could be spouting something that they don't fully know themselves. They've also just seen, and they've also just read a little bit about, and then messages do get passed on that can be wrong. And another part of my point is, you know, the world we're in today, it really is hard to have accurate results, to actually have objective things individually that we can look and say, well, is this right or is this wrong for me? The fact that it's took me so long to try and find these clinics that do the blood tests that I want, and to do detailed blood tests, and the fact that I have to do it privately, it's a bit of a joke, especially in England, especially with what we pay towards the NHS. But yeah, just a little rant. What I was sort of thinking about on the weekend. It took quite a bit of time. Don't necessarily mind it because, you know, like I said, I care about my health, and I care about feeling better day to day and lasting longer. But yeah, peace.